Hi Berwick. These are the courses in Scotland that Gus named us after.
Yes, Bror. Gus loves golf almost as much as woodworking. He and his son Paul have played courses around the US, Canada, and the UK. Paul loves to collect pencils from all the courses he's been to, and Gus is making him a golf pencil display cabinet to showcase all the courses he has played.
Greetings from Natasha from the links in the land down under. Since I love to play golf, I was especially excited about narrating this video. Gus will be showing us how he made a golf pencil display cabinet for his son Paul. Paul runs a golf business where he rates courses in the United States, UK and Australia. Since he has played courses around the world, he has a pencil collection that he'd like to display. He asked Gus to make him a cabinet that can display up to 100 pencils golf courses. So, we've been watching Gus mill the display cabinet rails, stiles and shelves. The cabinet is constructed of Peruvian walnut, with a touch of Brazilian oak for the molding, as we will see. You've also seen Gus at the router table cutting rabbets in the back of the stiles for the back panel. Here we see Gus sanding the parts prior to assembly with the Mercadero's orbital sander. Gus will provide links below to all the tools in this video. Here Gus is pre-assembling the cabinet prior to construction. It is very important to get the measurements correct prior to machining.
One of the most important things I have learned from Gus to measure twice, cut or drill once. But he usually measures 3 times.
To attach the shelves to the frame, Gus has chosen to use pocket hole joinery. Here, he is using the Masker pocket hole system to drill the pocket holes. The Masker pocket hole system has become Gus's favorite pocket hole jig, even more so than the Craig.
Big brother. Does Gus really need to use glue when using pocket hole screws?
Bror, baby sister. Glue is not necessary unless making a forever dog house. Pencils do not weigh nearly as much as dog bones.
Instead of drilling 100 holes using a drill press, Gus turned to his Axiom Precision CNC machine to automate the process. Here we see his design using Vectric Aspire CAD/CAM software. This saved Gus a lot of time he could use on the project elsewhere. Now that the top and bottom have been glued together to the stiles, it's off to the sanding station. Gus utilizes his Grizzly H2936 downdraft table frequently. The Mercadero's sander has excellent dust collection, but when sanding edges as shown, the downdraft table catches a lot of dust that the Deros can't get. It's now time to attach the shelves to the sides with pocket screws. Gus found it challenging to attach the shelves precisely to the sides due to the shelves slipping during the pocket screw insertions. Gus made an additional display cabinet, this one using mortise and tenons rather than the pocket screws. He found the mortise and tenons, utilizing the Lee FMT Pro, much easier to assemble and attach. Now it's back to the Axiom Precision CNC machine to carve the dentils for the top and bottom molding. The stock being used is Brazilian oak, and it produces a beautiful complement to the darker walnut. Again, using the CNC to cut the dentils saved Gus time and allowed him to move on to other tasks in the shop.
Berwick. Why do they call those grooves dentils?
Broer. A dentil is a small block used as a repeating ornament in the bed mold of a cornice used as early as 500 BC. The word dentil is Latin for tooth.
Does this mean that if Gus has a pain making dentils, he is said to have a toothache?
Gus keeps his miter saw in his basement, so he made several trips downstairs to get the miter edges a perfect fit. Here we see Gus gluing the mitered moldings to the top and bottom of the case. He then attaches by using his DeWalt brad fastener. Applying moldings to cabinets is a very tedious process, so be prepared to exhibit a lot of patience. Dentil moldings, applied correctly, add a special richness to the project. After all, dentil moldings go all the way back to ancient Greek and Roman architecture. According to Gus, dentil moldings never ever go together perfectly, as you can see when you look closely at this picture. You'll need to get some good wood filler to match the molding, and lots of elbow grease sanding and more sanding. Here Gus is at his Jessam mast a Lift XL 2 router table, cutting a cove in the bottom piece of the case. For the top, Gus bevels the edges to create an attractive top to transition well with the dentil molding.
Big Brother Berwick. Why doesn't all the golf pencils have erasers on them?
That's a great question, Broer. I really don't know the answer. However, I remember Gus once was talking about making pencils with erasers on both sides. But after thinking about that for a while, Gus felt the idea was pointless.
Now that the display case is assembled, Gus tests it out by placing some pencils in the holes. It just so happens that Gus had some extra walnut veneer on hand, the type you do not have to glue. You just peel off the back and apply to MDF. You'll need a special roller to ensure the veneer properly adheres to the MDF. It's now time to apply a dark walnut stain to the veneer and case. Gus is using dark walnut minwax wood finish. As the can says, this oil-based product penetrates, stains and seals the wood. Gus applies liberally, then takes a cloth to wipe off the excess stain. After Gus spends a good amount of time filling brad holes and cracks, then plenty of sanding, he takes to staining the case dark walnut. His son Paul has a beautiful home office with a lot of dark furniture that will match the display case. As you can see through this sequence, Gus soaks in the stain, allowing to penetrate deep into the wood fibers, then wipes off with a cloth.
Berwick, Gus's rag sure looks familiar to me. How about you?
Broer, now that you mention it, that rag sure looks like a pair of boxers Gus used to wear around the shop. I guess you can use anything for spare rags in Gus's shop.
Once the stain has dried and lightly sanded, it's time to apply the finish. Since Gus had some varathane polyurethane lying around, he chose to apply 2 coats to the case. Like the stain, this finish is oil-based, so it takes longer to dry than water-based finishes. Gus uses a sponge to apply the finish to the back, and uses a brush to apply to the case. A brush is absolutely necessary to apply the finish to the dentils. Once the finish is applied, allow 24 to 48 hours to dry, depending on the environment. Lightly sand between coats, using a hand sander with 440 grit sandpaper. Gus actually initially sanded with the orbital sander, which was a big mistake. It actually resulted in sanding through the stain, leaving a bare spot on the back. However, Gus was able to hide the bare spot, as it was located behind one of the shelves. Once the case and the back are dry, Gus attaches the back using 6 screws. The finished product is then transported 469 miles from Pittsburgh to Chicago in Gus's back car seat. Here we see a clip of Paul's beautiful home golf office and the project's final resting place.
Natasha sure does a great job narrating for Gus. And the golf display case looks great in Uncle Paul's office.
Yes, Uncle Paul and Aunt Nene have a beautiful place. I guess, Bror, we will have to stop chewing up things before we get invited.
You know, golfing's a great hobby, almost as good as woodworking. And when you've played a lot of courses, you like to have souvenirs like hats, scorecards, poker chips, ball markers, yardage guides, which I really prefer. Of course, golf balls, you've seen those displays. And the project that I worked on was golf pencils. And the nice thing about golf pencils is you can get a lot of them in one display case. In fact, with the one I made was over 100. Takeaways from this project was basically not real keen on pocket holes to join the shelves onto the sides, the top and the bottom. I just think it was kind of awkward when it came time to attach them. I honestly think probably better with doing another one with mortise and tenons, and I think it's going to be a lot easier to do. Even dados would probably be a preferable way to do it. It'd be a lot faster for sure. So yeah, I got this idea from Craig. They have a project on a golf display case, and so it's a good idea. I just think there's probably a better way to join these in a quicker way, especially if you're making a bunch of them. And finally, oh, Bror, the dentals did not give me a toothache because it was a pain to put together. This is a mirror I put together years ago, and kind of a similar pattern as the golf display case that I made with the top and then the dentals that go around it. These dentals, obviously I did them on the CNC, and they were very easy to make. This one years ago, I think I did this on router. You can do it on the table saw, you can do it on dados. But like I said, the hard part of these is just getting the corners to come together and fit, and they won't always fit together perfectly. That's why you need to have some good wood filler and stain, and be sure that you can do a lot of sanding. So enjoyed the project. I'm sure my son Paul will really enjoy it over the years to come, and hope to see you next week with my next video. Take care. Bye-bye. You gotta go to the side.
Might be able to get it out.
Open it wide open.
Yeah.
Hey, good shot.
Great job. Thanks. Chance for par.
Look at that.
Close? close.
Is that the best shot you hit all week, Paul?
It's probably a top 10.